After school, it was off to San Francisco for me. You were looking for sun and sand, and surfing in San Diego was where you'd be. We visited each other often for holidays like July 4th, and danced to 80s bands when you'd come north. One fateful trip to San Francisco I will never forget. In walked Nicole with a boyfriend I'd not yet met. His name was Jason, and he was a friend from school. He must have been special because Nicole wouldn't bring around no fool. I could tell right away that my friend was smitten. Jason was warm, caring, and the love bug had bitten. He treats my friend like the goddess she is. And they've got careers in common, both in the government biz. Nicole and I left California and both moved away. Since then I've been lucky to get to hang out with the two lovebirds near the Beltway, sometimes inside but mostly out. On behalf of the Bones, we welcome you with open arms. So does my mom, who Jason also quite charmed. She's been asking about this marriage for a few years, and we're also happy to be with you to cheer. This next step in life, you are so good together. Let's raise a glass to your love forever and ever.
Hi, I'm Paz. I got cheated a little bit. Anyway, I'm Paz because I went to see you with Hick. And since we were a product of the 70s, all three of us were named Jason, and there's another JD here, so we all got different names. That's where Paz came from. So that's where we met. And wow.
Lots happened since then.
Yeah, it has. And you know, even though I'm Paz, I think Nicole remembers me best as the guy who lived with Hick, who shared a bunk bed actually. And that would be fine if you shared a bunk bed when you were like in grammar school, except we were like 28 years old. Sharing a bunk bed.
Let's have bunk.
Being a role model for all the young folks coming up in school here. Anyway, it's a huge honor to stand in front of you, to be very honest, and to be a groomsman and to stand next to Hick. I mean, stood with me when I was getting married to my wonderful wife, Lena, and I know how much that meant to me. And it was a little intimidating, to be honest with you. And you're trying to find some inspiration, if you would, and you try, trying to think a little bit introspectively. We're older now. So I did. I did a little research. I wanted to figure out, like, what is this thing, this friendship? Like, what makes that bond, We're at that time, where you can look back and it's not just you're just living life, you're contemplating a little bit. So I did. I actually, like, Googled. I went to the interweb and looked it up, and amazingly something came up, And what was it? Circa 2009, Schuyler-Zeeman hypothesis came up, and basically what it said is there's a direct correlation with like this long-lasting friendship and like all the dumb things that you've done. And I feel like I've shared quite a few dumb things with Dick. One being it was his birthday one day, and it was pretty hot, good night. We wanted to celebrate the birthday, and considering the fact that we had bunk beds, we really didn't have any dates. So the next most logical thing to do was do something, dumb. And so we did. There was this, JD had this van. He was a track coach at CU, and this van, and they had this watermelon that had been rolling around in this van like all summer. And this watermelon weighed like 18 pounds. And we decided that the best thing to do would be to huck this watermelon off this huge crane, like they were putting up this thing in Boulder, in the middle of Boulder. So that's what we did. We went, and you had to hop like 3 fences and like jump down and get in the crane and all that. And we had been celebrating for a while to put ourselves in the correct mood for it all. And it was just me and Hick, because we had no dates. And like we got through the first fence and we did that all right. And you got to hop a fence with an 18-pound watermelon that you're passing. And you don't want to break it because you want to break it from the top of the crane. And so we got through the second fence, and then guess what? It broke. And I mean, this is a special day for Jason, so we did the next most logical thing, which was to get on his motorcycle and ride to the grocery and get a bigger water. Go back to the crane, only to like climb up there successfully and huck this thing from like 80 feet into the middle of Pearl Street Mall. And that was their celebration. It made a lot of sense to me. And the only reason I share that with you is because that was a pretty dumb thing to do, I'm older now, I got a kid, you don't want your kid doing stuff like that. But we survived. And here I am, I'm in this honorable place, and it got me thinking, And then the other thing that I realized was I was like, well, wait a minute, Hick is like the smartest guy I know, so maybe he was just trying to keep me from killing myself. and that was a pretty cool thing to do, but then I realized he had too much fun doing that dumb thing, so that couldn't be it. Hey, thanks, Bucks. And I realized it's that playful nature in Jason, And as this relationship has blossomed with Nicole, I've got to know her, and I've sort of looked at the way she kind of laughs off all the dumb things that we still do, and realized that, hey, that she's all right. She helped me do some stuff, too. She played right in, and it was a great thing. And that's what it's all about, is like you look back of not just the dumb things, but like the intense things, and those are the memories that we carry along, and you get to know someone pretty darn well, and when you see that person that and you know the quirks, and Hick's got a few of them. He's a quirky guy, but also the way that Nicole compliments him, and it just makes me love her even more, and to be here standing in front of you, is like the coolest thing in the world, and there's nothing I'd rather be doing right now. So here's to Hick and Nicole.
There's a couple stories I just want to run through real quickly, and I find them somewhat defining of our relationship. Now, I just want to preface everyone, my friend Nicole embarrasses quite easily, and so I'm walking a fine line here. My friend Jason doesn't, so one of my favorite stories is when Nicole and I went out freshman year, not during the time you always went out on crutches. After that. We didn't get into a bar for one reason or another, and we were waiting for a cab on the steps of a bank, and Nicole and I are very similar. We grew up with brothers, grew up playing soccer, very loyal, but we never need to speak of it. But we were feeling a little loose this night, and on the steps of the bank we're like, I love you, Nicole, I love you, Miller, and we're hugging, and it's so not like us. But it was so poignant in our relationship because it was something we never needed to say, but it just defined where we were, and a lot has happened since then. So there are quite a few stories in between that I will not share here. But my dear friend met Jason. And for the life of me, I cannot remember the first time I met Jason. And that is because, well, I can't really remember, but also, I really thought about it, and also because it just always seemed like Jason was around. And I feel like that's obviously a really fantastic thing. Nicole never was one who needed to get married. She always knew what love was, never needed a piece of paper to define that. But I just wanted her to marry Jason, so I wasn't the only one. Quite a few of us may have been a little bit pushy about it. And as we were pushing harder and harder, Nicole finally looked at me and said, well, you know, he's never said he really wants to marry me. And I thought about that. Yeah, and I was like, well, it's obvious he's going to want to. By the way he acts around her, and by everything that had happened. But I thought about that. And I was like, all right, well, I kind of want to be the one to make him say it. So, maybe to move this along, right? So we're on vacation together, and I cornered Jason in a pool. I had some alone time. I was like, this is it. Get him, right? And I mean, you may be surprised by this, but if he doesn't want to answer a question, he kind of knows how not to answer. But I thought I'd give it my best shot, right? So as we're going along this conversation in the pool, one thing stuck out. He said, life had always come first, work had always come first, until Nicole. And that's all I needed to hear. That was it. So, I'm going to wrap up with that. I love you both very much. Happy this day finally came. So, love you.
Now, yeah. Pause. I want to just to riff on dumb things with Hick. I can't even count dumb things, life and limb on the line, and over the years from this age right here, the kids in front of us, to a year ago. I mean, it's one of those things that it runs the territory, and everyone raise a hand if you've done something really dumb with Hick. But beautifully brilliant at the same time. Well, and I think that's a bond for a lot of us here. So I represent friendship of the old school, right? Yeah. Actually, I want to go back 1 second here. I want to thank Phil and Marianne for hosting this. For making the call and letting us all be here to celebrate your beautiful daughter, Jason. Yeah. And I want to thank you guys. I want to thank Jason and Nicole for the love they share. That's so evident here. For the life they're sharing, for the opportunity for us to share our love with them. I mean, what a gift. And Benita and Bill are, I'd say, almost like second parents to us, Vic and I. And like Amber is almost like a sister. Jason really is like a brother. And I'd say likewise, he feels the same way about our family. I'm not going to get hurt. I'm not. Anyways, all right, that part's over. All right. So Jason and I, you know, basically, you know, sleepovers. You didn't call them sleepovers; like you'd spend the night. Sleepovers. Big forts out of pillows and you know, camping trips and endless family holidays. I swear we've had like Thanksgivings and Christmases and Easters, probably at least 100 of them over the years with the family, and we still do it. Like Jason and Nicole were out for Christmas in Ashland, Oregon just this last year, and we're not easy to get to, you know, but Jason makes the point of putting the effort in to get to those meaningful experiences. For instance, like when Barrett over here, when Barrett was so when Barrett was born, you know, 14 years ago, Jason was there. Jason flew out like the day afterwards. It's pretty awesome. Yeah. Anyway, okay, I'm gonna move on. So anyway, I got a list of like attributes about Jason, and it'll get better here tomorrow. It's a lot. We got a lot of years, you know. Like, there's a lot of strings attached here. All right. So way back then, you know, we didn't have any cognitive idea of what was growing and what was happening between us. It was just sort of organic, and you know, through sports together growing up, through high school, through other friends, through friends coming in, through friends going out, and then through Jason going to college in Colorado, and I'm in Washington, and then him meeting guys like Paz and Jesso and JD, and then me feeling like I can go and be spending time with him, but then meeting his new friends and feeling like this is a collective relationship that they're including me and I can include them. So I feel like this best man thing is like, it's really, there's a lot of us here that are best in. There's a lot of us here that share in Jason's friendships over the years. You know, I've got a long relationship with him, but I know that there's guys in the team that Jason, you know, you can't match that kind of relationship. I know there's guys from school that you can't match the relationship. To me, Jason really is, in a sense, he's home to me, you know? He's friendship, he's family, he's affection. He's got an amazing relationship with my wife, Dana, over here. Jason was in our wedding 19 years ago, in 2 months from now. He's attentive. He is paternal. He loves kids. He's great with kids. He wants to hold them. He wants to help out. He's the godfather of our kids. He's an uncle. He's a protective brother. He's generous. He's brave. He's a hero. Jason's a leader. He's a hard worker. Jason's fun. Jason's funny. Jason's ready. He's ready to go. He'll be ready in a couple minutes. Jason's generous, beyond generous. He's sharp. He's creative. He's motivated. He's just. Jason is a moral compass. You know, growing up, you know, he was the guy you could look to and say, like, okay, what would Jason do? And so when everyone had these bracelets like WWJD, he was the quip that it really meant, you know, what would Jason do in this situation? Jason seldomly makes a bad decision. He's gifted. Jason's committed. Jason's been committed since we're that age. Whether it was sports, and he's, you know, he's one of those guys that he's the golden kid, you know, like, I'm going to start doing BMX racing. And then he's, you know, he's got the trophies from the local place. And I'm going to travel down to Oregon. He starts winning those trophies. And then he ends up doing the regional stuff. And he comes down with trophies that are like 6 feet tall from, you know, Whistler. And then it's tennis and the whole, I mean, he had like a wall of fame growing up. And then it's, you know, cross country and steeplechase and 5Ks and 10Ks and 50 miles and 100 miles. And nothing's stopping him. Jason to me is equal parts fun, reminiscence, but at the same time, the satisfaction that new experiences are coming or they're being made right now, right around the corner.